So this guy comes in, he's like, yeah, we got to go. It's like 6 a.m. or like 5:30 a.m. I was like, this is nuts, right? And so I go down, and I'll never forget it. I walk into this room, and because I still at this point didn't think it was real. I was like, someone's setting us up here now for some kind of joke, right? So I remember walking to the room, and then there was like 6 of the boys sitting in chairs drinking water with the same look of disgust on their face that I had. And then over in the corner was big Paul Cowart standing up doing jumping jacks. And I was like, Cordy, what are you doing? He said, they said it helps to make me pee.
Get out of here! I told you, Mr. Drama.
I used to be a ladies' man, but I'm a man now. For courting 6 girls, all at once they used me.
Say bye-bye baseball!
My mother said it was naughty, I should place in her back. But I said if it's naughty, sure it's also very good.
And the Lolly drops his glove grabs Dalton. The benches are clearing.
Dust Up with Hilly and Lolly is brought to you by CoolBet. If you got a few extra bucks rattling around in your arse pocket, CoolBet Sportsbook will double your first deposit up to $200 when you use the bonus code DUSTUP. Head over to coolbet.com and get in on the fastest growing entertainment sector in the world. That bonus code again is DUSTUP, one word, all capital letters, DUSTUP. All right, fellas, we're back at it again. Episode number 7 of Dust Up with Hilly and Lolly. And Hilly, really excited about today's guest, one of our best buddies in softball, outside of softball, and arguably the best ball player on the planet. I'm going to do him a little bit of a workup for him here. We got 5-time ISC World Tournament champion, 7-time Canadian Senior Men's National Champion, 5-time ASA American Men's Major Champion, 2015 WBSC World Champion, 2015 Pan Am Games Gold Medalist and hero in Brad Ezekiel coming on with us. I am pumped for this one.
You said, buddy, one of the best, one of our great buddies, current teammate, Hill United. Bradley's done it all, man. He's literally done everything there is to do in the game, and he's still doing it. He's only 33 years old, and he's only one of the infamous Ezekiel clan as well. So there's there's probably another 20 rings divvied out between his other 2 brothers. So we'll get into some of that stuff. But looking forward to chatting with Brad, man. One of the best. It's going to be a good show.
Yeah, we get into a lot of things about where he grew up in a small town, the influences the people from that community had on him and his career to this day, his journey to the national team, a lot of the great experiences we've had the privilege of getting to go through with him, playing on 3 teams with Newfoundland and Hill United and the national team. So there's a ton of things we get in there. You and I got a couple of bones that we want to pick with him, namely him owning you in the St. John Senior League and him being the reason I no longer play the fucking outfield. So we'll get into that with him, but just an all-around great chat with one of the best guys you can ever meet on the ball field. And I'm just too excited, man. Without further ado, let's get into it. Bradley Ezekiel. Bradley Ezekiel, what's happening, buddy? Thanks for coming on the podcast with us.
Well, thanks for having me, Lolly. Hilly, how's it going, boys?
Welcome, Zeke.
Oh, you're our most requested guest to have on. I think people kind of had an assumption we were going to get you on at some point, which right when we started this, we told you we would, and thankfully we got you on here, and so really appreciate you coming on. One of our best buddies, best players in the game, all-around teammates. But Hilly, when we look at Bradley, we've seen him from when he was 15, 16 years old, and to see what he's done in the ball game now, it's incredible, isn't it?
It's crazy, man. At such a young age to do what he's done and to continue to do it at such a high level, it's a pretty cool show, man. Pretty cool to watch.
Thanks, Wallace. Appreciate it.
No, it's wicked, Bradley, and can't overstate how you've really turned yourself into a great ball player. But with everything you've done in the game, and a little bit of it, I'm just looking at at a bit of your resume. 19 rings and 5 ISC World titles, 7 Canadian Senior Men's Championships, 2015 WBSC World Champion, 2015 Pan Am Game Gold Medalist, and 5-time ASA American National Champion, to go along with a laundry list of individual awards. right now, widely considered the best ball player on the planet, and no one better. But as great as you are on the field, even better teammate, even better buddy. So really glad you're on here, and we're just going to do what we do when we're out on the road and sitting around the hotel room, shoot the shit and get caught up. So what's new with you?
Not too much, just working. And, with the good news with the government passed out with the travel. So it looks like we might get travel a bit and play some ball this year. So that's positive.
I think everyone's getting a little excited when I know it went around pretty quick, and I've seen a bunch of people sent me the pictures and the federal government getting ready to announce this and that. Gets the juices flowing again, like it's like we're so close now, and to get back traveling, man, it's exciting anyway. Something to look forward to.
Yeah, I was saying to Ashley that I don't think I've ever been as excited for a season starting. Now it's only a few tournaments, but just getting away with the boys and playing for something else, it's going to be awesome. Well, hopefully, if everything goes as
fingers
planned.
crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple of times that if we were able to get a season, and everyone's holding on to whatever string of hope that you could hold on to, and it was a point in time that it didn't look that great, but now it's looking good with the vaccines and all that stuff. And I think globally, just overall, there's going to be a renewed appreciation for the game. Not just the competition, but just the broader community, being back in the ISC, back at some of these travel events and getting to see the buddies that you haven't seen in a while and that maybe over the past number of years we probably took for granted. And that's what I'm looking forward to the prospect of that, actually getting to see you guys in person again. And Hilly, we talked the seasons, kind of a couple of seasons now gone by without having the ball that we've been used to. The league started up in Newfoundland, and I think Bradley got off to a bit of a slow start, did he?
Well, I was down. I think you might only have, now depending on when this airs, you might only have 2 games in your belt right now.
Yeah, we got
him and got 2 games.
Actually, we had one snow out and one rain out.
Wasn't that nuts?
It snowed out the other day. That is crazy.
Yes,
it was the Tuesday. That was a Thursday night. So Tuesday, it was literally 29 degrees. I never had a shirt on the whole day. Oh. And then Thursday, I'm shoveling off the front fucking step. Like, it is wild. Like Patty Daly said it was, what did he say? It was amazing, annoying, irritating, and fascinating all at the same time. Like, how the fuck does this happen?
That's what they say. But you got to wear rolled up snow pants home because you don't know what you're going to get.
You could get 4 seasons in one day. There's no doubt.
So, but game 1, Bradley, facing Sean Cleary, bang, bomb over the scoreboard. Like, what are you at by? Come on, strike out or do something. Take a walk. What are you at going down there hitting a home run off Sean first at bat?
Well, my first at bat was a walk, Lolly. So I see a few pitches. I don't think I swung my first at bat.
Oh, okay.
And, so went up the next one. I said, screw it. I'm swinging at the first pitch. Sure enough, Rod's ball, chest height, and managed to hit it a long ways. Sorry, Shani.
Well, that's it, man. Well, the hitters got the advantage in that league, right? And Hilly, I'll give into it just for this episode. You, as the fantastic pitcher that you are, you can probably speak to it, the struggles of pitching in that league.
So, Lolly, he's the 3rd best pitcher on any team in the world. There's no doubt about it.
Friggin' right.
You fuckers. No. But, our league is pretty good. There's a lot of great hitters, and they're spread out amongst the teams. But, I mean, there's only 4 fucking teams. You're facing each other literally every week. There's only, up, down, change. And they're not working for me every night. So many tricks I got in the bag, right? But It's good. It's tough, man. It's tough.
Well, and it's funny with you two, right? Because traveling for the last decade together and playing on Hill United, playing on Galway Hitman, playing on Team Canada, all together. But then Tuesday, Thursday, Sundays down that league going up against each other. And
oh, yeah.
Well, it's a rivalry, right? And what was it, 2 years ago? 2 or 3 years ago, we were getting ready to go play the ISC, Bradley, and you step in the box, from your perspective, you're probably, okay, what happened there?
Yeah, well, I remember as me and Hilly started traveling together a few years before, we were starting to build quite a relationship, as I thought. Going down on, I think it was a Thursday night, I believe we were traveling the next day. And I'm here thinking, going into a big tournament, I might see a couple down the middle, get my bat going for the weekend, going into a ring tournament. Nobody steps in there about 5 degrees, right in the fucking ribs. Hilly, do you remember what I said?
I hit him. I struck him, and I knew I was striking him. I hit him on purpose.
No, there's no doubt about that. You couldn't miss me.
And it was literally 5 degrees. You see your breath, and he was walking down first base, just disgusted. He goes, "That fucking sucked."
Well, it was the fucking hardest pitch I threw in about 4 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, looking back on it, it wasn't very nice. But at this point, I'm a flat rise ball away from wearing a face mask on the mound.
We've seen a few close calls.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. But it's good. It's good competitive league, man. Like, we're bitter enemies, really, between the lines Thursday night, and then Friday morning we're buying each other coffee at the airport. So it's fun.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, we're recording this. This is June 16th, and I got some real exciting news yesterday. Jane and I got our second vaccine. It wasn't in my arm. 10 minutes. It was home. We had the flight booked back to Newfoundland. So July 13th to the 25th, we're headed back home. Haven't been excited about something like this. I can't remember how excited I've been. So getting back, get to see you guys in person, and then from there, roll right into the ISC season. It's the most hope and anticipation I've had about anything in a long time, and I can't tell you how excited I am. Hold
on, Lolly. I'm just marking that down there. July 13th. I got to call the boys at Molson to swing by around the 12th. back the Miller truck up to the garage there. Lolly's coming home.
Yeah. You got my room ready or what?
I do. It's all ready, buddy. I got your favorite teddy and everything is up on top of it.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Well, that's
excellent news, buddy.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
But we're talking about just how hopeful things are now with the announcements and everything, and the ISC circuit. So we can talk on a bunch of different levels here. We can talk local ball in Newfoundland. We can talk Canadian championships with playing with Newfoundland, Team Canada stuff, and the ISC. But I want to talk particularly about the ISC now. And Bradley, where the last number of months was kind of a big question mark, 50-50 at best on whether we're going to get a chance to play. And now with the announcements that are coming out, looking very optimistic that we will. Where's your head at now with those announcements, getting prepared for what could be a very competitive, full present ISC World Tournament?
Yeah, well, to say I'm excited is an understatement. Having a full year off last year, it was almost like you needed it, to build up that passion for the game again. But
yeah,
it's going to be quite an experience to get down and see everyone and play a competitive tournament again. And hopefully it'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'm following along the social media and stuff like the rest of us, and the announcements, and you see the teams starting to get listed off, and you see the links to the rosters, man, and starting to build up some momentum. And it's almost like, I don't want to get too excited because I don't want to be crushed again come 1st of August. But it's definitely something to look forward to, man. Like, just to get to travel again, see the boys, play some ball in the States in the warm weather. It hasn't been very warm here lately playing, but man, looking forward to it. I hope it happens. We're close. I think we're close.
Yeah, and I hear you on that. You don't want to get your hopes up too much, and I keep catching myself in that. But you know what? I'm leaning into the hope now. If something happens, if something happens, fine, we'll deal with it. But I'm just going to enjoy the hope, the training. I'm excited to train again. The practice, and it just, that announcement, it really renewed like you said, Bradley, the passion for all things in the game.
Yeah, it really did, but
yeah, it's wicked. But there's so much that we can talk to you about and that we want to talk to you about. And seeing you grow up in the game from when you were 15 or 16 years old, when we first heard your name. Didn't know you. We knew Blair as one of the best ball players in Canada, making his stamp on the international scene in his early 20s. And we heard about, his younger brother, Bradley, moving up from playing midget ball to playing in senior league in St. John's. And then you've had a really incredible journey from a young ball player to where you are now when the captain's on Team Canada. But that all started from you in a very small town in CBC, Conception Bay Central, is a region on the Avalon Peninsula in Newfoundland, for our listeners who don't know, in a town called Harbour Main. What was it like getting your start back there, and how important was growing up in that area on your softball career now?
Well, it was huge because in my area, everyone played softball. Girls, boys, everyone. I remember we even played mixed because there just wasn't enough. So you just you put everyone on the team and you play whoever came, right? So no, that was huge. And like I said, Blair, he being 6 years older than me, he really set the table for me, getting me out there when I was 10 years old, throwing me rise balls, trying to hit me in the face, you know. Right. Well, when I wanted no part of it, right? But you know, that kind of definitely makes you better, right? Like, and with a younger brother as well, then I got to do that stuff to him, so it kind of, you know, comes full circle.
Yeah, that's the joys of being the middleman.
But growing up in CBC, like, we had such good support in there. Like, you know, like I said, everybody played it. So, you know, everybody's mom or dad helped out, rides to the games or practices or even just coaching, right? Like, we had a couple of coaches for probably right from squirt to bantam, right? And they put in so much time, like giving up all their weekends to make sure we had a game to play, or, you know. And one thing they always try to do for us is have us play against older teams, you know, and that definitely makes you better. It kind of sucked at the time because we just lost a lot, right?
Yeah.
But no, like I said, they always put the time in and made sure we got a chance to go away for Eastern Canadians and things like that. Like, managed to go away pretty much every year since I'm 13 for softball. So it's pretty incredible that way, right?
Yeah, I kind of got a firsthand look at that myself. My mother obviously is from Harbour Main as well, and my Uncle Barry. I spent a lot of time out there with my Uncle Barry, who was big in the softball scene, and not just Harbour Main, but the whole CBC area. And I remember being out there at a young age. I remember having catches with your brother when he was, you know, and he would just throw rise balls. I wouldn't even catch him. I'd say, "You go get that." It was over my head. And but I remember, still, whether it was a slow pitch tournament, a fundraiser, whatever it was, mixed tournaments, there's always a huge volunteer base. There was always decent sized crowds around because they made a weekend event of it, and there was always kids around with gloves and bats and stuff you love to see, you know, and throwing a ball around, the tennis balls, beating them on the back of dugouts and doing whatever, man. It was, you know, and it still is today a hotbed of minor softball. Yeah,
that whole area, and it's a very small area geographically when you look at it, and population wise, very small town. But you look at some of the ball players that have come out of that area, the three Ezekiel brothers with Kyle, you, and Blair. You got and Sean Cleary, you know, and then some of the other guys who are just household names in Newfoundland, household names on representing Newfoundland at nationals, who in their own right could be playing ISCs and just for personal reasons, family reasons, work reasons, just chose not to make that jump and are playing locally. But talk about a hotbed of fast pitch. And I love to hear you talking about the support from, you know, the parents and the coaches out there, because when I think of your area, that's one of the things that really jumps out to me are the Jim Dunphys of the world. Your father, Ron Ezekiel, and the time, and I know, Bradley, there's probably loads more people out there that had an impact on you, but probably took it for granted. I'm talking about me personally now, growing up, the sacrifices and commitments that people made to give us a game of ball to play and running these tournaments and practices and leagues, but they did a bang up job of it out your way. Yeah, well, obviously this doesn't happen without support like that, right? So like you said, the success that we've had, like being from a small town, like it's truly incredible.
Zeke, there was I don't know if it's still on the go now, but there was didn't they start up a senior league out there?
Yeah.
Like Johnny Farrell and those guys, like last few years?
Yeah,
I don't know if it's still going or not. But.
No, I think they stopped it a couple of years ago. They tried to get it back on the go, but it was just a lot of people working and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to. A lot of construction work in our area. So, you know, and the work is there, you know, people are gone away and stuff like that. But they managed to have a league in there with 4 teams for but I believe it was 4 or 5 years for sure, right? And all the old guys that got out.
Yeah, it's cool.
I used to see a lot of the old guys that played like juniors and stuff that went to national and stuff, and they get out and they're hitting bombs and stuff like so.
Danny Cleary and those guys.
Passion, yeah.
But Bradley, you got thrown into the fire early on. Right, because when you were coming up, I think at that point, we had Colin who went and Ward Goss, and then me and Hilly started going down traveling the ISC, and your brother Blair and Johnny Kelly and some of these guys, and then you got to go real young, 17, 18 years old, to get to go down and play on some of these teams. And when I look back on your career, it's really defined by big moments, big games, playing on championship teams, but you got thrown into real big situations early. My mind goes back to 2009 when you got a chance as, I don't know, how old were you in 2009, that season when we teamed up
22
with...
then.
You're 22 playing on the defending ISC champion Kitchener River Shark Twins, and ended up playing a starting role in the outfield alongside Ryan Wolf. And what was that experience to go from... Things snowball really quickly to you're 22 years old playing on the number 1 ranked team in the world and go out and end up being a part of a repeat championship?
Yeah, well, it was like at the time going in, it was pretty intimidating, like being 22, and then you hear some of the names on that team, right? And that's like all the talk in the game is about how good Ryan Wolf is and Paddy Shannon and Jody and all these guys. And I'm 22, I got in the IC game the year before in Midland in 2008, and it was actually the year before. Remember, we went to Jarvis for a tournament, and that was actually my first taste of senior ball and getting to get on the road with the boys, and it was actually quite an experience there. And we'll leave it at that.
No, we're not going to leave it at that.
No.
So for any of our listeners out there who may have heard Ian Fairman's episode, we talked about at the end of his episode this tournament in Jarvis, and Opie, he came on, and there was a little dust up there at the Hagersville Arena, and he basically came out and said that you had something to do with starting that. So I think it's only fair to give you a chance. So I'll just from your perspective, what happened? And we don't need to go into all the details, but he called you out on starting that fight. What do you got to say about that?
I can't say a whole lot. I kind of did initiate the first words of the fight. No doubt about that. But it just happened so quick. We went outside at the end of the night, and we just got talking to these couple guys, and I told them I was from Newfoundland, and I don't know. He kind of said, I don't know. I wouldn't tell people that up here. And then being drunk, I probably told them right where to go and how to get there. And then with that,
drink.
It was like the doors opened up and out you came, and I was like, oh fuck, here we go. Right? So I went over and I said, buddy said this, and then he knows what happened after that.
Yeah. We cleared the air. We straightened it all up.
Yeah, I was all good by it's younger days, but it's funny, we're still talking and laughing about that story, 10.
But imagine
10,
me now
years.
going in first senior tournament. I mean, Scott Stasic had us up there, right? Give me a tryout to come with their team for next year and start a big old fight and all that, But it ended up working out.
It worked out. Oh, geez, did it ever? Right? And then so we'll get back. Yes. So you got your chance to go down and we played in that tournament, ended up winning that tournament. And then, you get the tap on the shoulder for the number 1 ranked team in the ISC. So that whole year, I know we talk about it often, how special that was for you.
Yeah, it was unreal. Like going in, sure, I didn't even know if I was going to start, if I was a 17th guy. I just knew the defending champs wanted me to play with them. I'm in, right? Like get to play with some of the best players in the game, like especially you, Lolly, and my brother, and Daryl Joy, who he was the Colin Abbott to us growing up, right? So to get to play with you guys was incredible there. But then I get up there and you're looking at Ryan Wolf in the face and Jody Ice and Dean Holine and Paddy Shannon, and the list goes on. I didn't say a word, I don't think, the whole summer. I kind of just nodded my head and smiled, you know. But, you know, it was something else playing with a group like that at such a young age.
Yeah, it's like we had a Robbie Gray on. Like he said, when he first started out, he said, I kept my mouth closed and kept my ears open. And you pick up so much, especially as a young kid. Like, all these guys are Hall of Famers, man. And just listen to what they got to say. Take their advice. You have no choice but to get better.
Yeah, and like, for instance, seeing Paddy Shannon, the way he carried himself on the field, like just so professional all the time, right? Like, and that's when you really notice the New Zealand guys, how serious they take it, right? It's it's cool. It's cool to see. And
before we go any further into you said Paddy Shannon here, and my mind is going here now because this has come up before.
Oh, here we go. Oh, his mind's going now, boys. But buckle up, folks.
This is fucking interesting. No, take us through. Talk about the stance, your batting stance, because you mentioned Paddy, and I'm thinking unique stances, right? So that's why Paddy have a very unique stance. Jody Henniger, we've heard comparisons to your stance and your bat waggle and stuff to Jody Henniger. How did that come to be? And we all know it's working for you, but it's not necessarily something you're not necessarily you see the young kids doing now or people teaching at hitting clinics. But how did it come to be? How did you iron that out?
Yeah, it's definitely not something you'd teach a young kid for sure. But no, I remember, like I said, playing back in CBC, I remember our coach, Cy Gorman, he said, I just want you to be comfortable in the backs. As long as you're comfortable, you know, you'll hit the ball. So whatever it was, I started, I always started with my hands high, and then I used to pump, like drop my hands and then go through. And then, I don't know, over the years, I just my hands just kept going up so I wouldn't drop the bat so low. And there's no real rhyme or reason, but a bit about timing too, for sure. But you know, it's just something I've done since I'm real young and just never ever changed it.
I think if a coach told a young Stephen Mullally to go to the box to be comfortable, just be comfortable, be yourself, I'd say he'd go up with a tin of Pepsi and a flaky pie.
Well, if it was that easy, boys, Bradley, go in. And I'll quote you here. This is how easy the game of softball is for Bradley Ezekiel. When he describes hitting, as long as you're comfortable, you hit the ball. But there's a lot of dots that got to connect from when you're from your comfort to hitting a low lifter from Adam Folkart. But you're right. I wish it was just being comfortable, but you make it look effortless. We talk about you pretty well every episode. That I haven't really seen you slump, but you know, we talked about it's just a banking of experiences that you've started at that young age. And then in that championship game in 2009, you drove in the winning run, 22 years of age, to give the number one ranked team back-to-back championships. So do you remember that at bat? Do you remember that game? You know, what do you recall from that?
I do, yeah. Well, I remember Adam was throwing fucking peas. I know that under the Quad City lights, and you know how low the lights were then. You couldn't see the ball, but I remember, Blair ended up getting on, and then Dino hit him over, and he ended up on third with 2 outs. And I'm here thinking, fuck, like just put the ball in play, like anything you could do, just make contact, right? So I think I had 2 strikes on me at the time, I'm not sure, but I managed to just hit like a chopper to shortstop, and I just put my head down and beat it out. But I think he made an error on the play or whatever. It didn't matter. No, it was pretty cool to drive in Blair for the winning run of the ICs. It was, at such a young age, it was unreal.
Was that a 1-0 game?
It was.
Wasn't that like the
sixth inning?
Wasn't the only run that Adam had given up?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had 0 ERA because it was an error, ruled an error. So he went through the tournament 0 ERA, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's no surprise for Adam, right? Like he's just been doing that pretty much every year.
Well, you look back, like that was, I don't know how many years ago was that? 13 years ago now, wow. Right? And that's when he was really coming on the scene. You know, he just comes on, and with the Patsies who put together a powerhouse, who goes to the ISC and has a 0 ERA. And then from there, that was Adam Folkart's here, and he never disappoints. Right? We talked about you earlier with how good you are and how good you've become, and he's been one of the most consistent ball players, not just pitchers, but they're going to have to rename the award after him soon enough, right?
Yeah, it'll be his award. There's no doubt. But I remember those first couple of years when you get to play against them, because they were in all those Ontario tournaments too. Like every time you seen him, it was like eye-opening, like, oh my God, he throws that hard. Like his spins are that good. He throws that hard. Like how do you beat him type thing, right? So obviously an error. No, but then, as we were lucky enough to get to play with him, so that definitely helped our average along the way. To see what he's done over the course of that time is probably never be done again.
No, and well, when you talk about you being as good as you are, but then just as good, if not better, as a teammate, he falls into that category too. Like getting to spend the last 10 years playing with him on Hill United. When you talk about the best of the best, it's not just performance on the ball field. When you got your peers calling people the best, it's all the other things that really come into play there too. And what a great teammate he is, right?
Absolutely. On the ball diamond's one thing, but once you get back to the hotel, he's the real jokester. He likes having a laugh. He keeps things easy, right? Like he's, it's fun having him around.
Yeah. Well, we had that. So on Hill United, that's for our listeners out there that may not be as familiar with the team. So we have Kangaroo Court, right? So throughout the year, if anyone does anything stupid, like get kicked out of a game, late for the bus or whatever, leaving your glove at the ball field, there's fines. So you got a court with a jury, you got an executioner. We had Dale Levy who was doing that, and then you got Adam as the judge. And over the years, this has gotten progressively more interesting, right? It's now it's building up. He got bug zappers going around, and you can challenge. You can bring your case to court if you want to fight it, and heaven help you. And I brought every single one. I was never guilty. And then just going up, we got Lolly on the docket again, and then they're zapping your tongue and all this stuff. But it's funny. He comes in full on judge outfit that he ordered off Amazon or the dollar store, and he walks in, man, and the boys are dressed up in cop outfits. It's wicked, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome. He sure goes all out for stuff like that. I don't know if you remember a time we went to Florida very early on in the Hill United era, and all the Newfoundlanders traveled together. So once we got down there, I think our wives and everything came. So once we got down there, we had our own villa. We walk in, and the whole place is booby trapped. The whole place. He had them cherry bombs on the toilet seat. He had saran wrap there. He had you opened the fridge door, something popped out at you. Like it was just hilarious, right?
Yeah. Right. And that's really important because we have a lot of young guys joining the Hill United team, right? And when you hear about a guy of Adam Folkart's stature and you're a new person joining that team, it can be intimidating. You're not sure if he's going to be an entitled, cocky, arrogant guy, but he really sets the tempo for the team, for the culture, and just makes every person, support staff, and any new player that comes in feel welcome. And you can just see the ease flow through the team. And that's a big part of why we've been so successful over the last number of years. Right, Hilly?
Boys, I just got back here, man. I had no idea what you're talking about. If you didn't notice,
you were going to step in. No, Weston was crying.
Yeah. He's just fucking. He was up, man. He was dreaming or sleeping, and I brought him to the bathroom, and he was fucking pissed everywhere. And
that's just like Dad when he's drunk.
Hey, apple don't fall far from the tree.
My boy.
Well, I heard man, like Teddy was upstairs too, and he just got into his toddler bed. They added a crib. Now he calls his big boy bed, and I can hear him up there. Super Teddy, and he's jumping out of his crib. He's jumping out of the bed, right? Goes Super Teddy. It's friggin'.
Weston woke up and he was holding his bird, like he was coughing, and he was holding his bird. I was like, "You got to pee, and he didn't say nothing because he was like dreaming or asleep. And I brought him to the bathroom, and I hauled down his pants and went right out. It went everywhere but in the toilet bowl.
Yeah. God love
It's up there everywhere.
Oh my
But
God.
it looks like he's back to sleep here now. Anyway, sorry. I heard you talking about Adam Folkart.
Yeah, we're talking about Folkart, how good he is from a young age, like Bradley was, but just all the other things he brings off the field, right? Like the prankster stuff, making new guys, young guys, support staff, everybody. He can be an intimidating figure if you don't know him. But
That's right.
And how that translates into the culture of the team and the success that we've seen over the last number of years.
Right. So it's like any of the guys that we grew up playing against, like Bradley talked about, the Dean Holine and Todd Martin. Getting your start with these guys is like, those top dogs, you don't really know what they're like, and it's kind of intimidating when you're first joining the team. But Adam got a way about him that he just makes everybody feel welcome. He's a prankster, he's a jokester. On the field, he's all business, but there's like, he got the fire and the aggressiveness. But you know what, you fuck up or you make a mistake or whatever, it's all good, man. It's all good. Get him next time, type thing. Like he's just a real good teammate for such a guy who's won so much and who's so good and still so good right now.
Well, Bradley, there's so much here that we can dive into, right? And we got to go to the national team next. And you've been a mainstay on the national team now for a number of years, but I knew that from early on that was on your radar, and there's a lot of hard work going into it. When did you, see that as a realistic goal, and then what was it like working your way up to getting that call and first joining the team?
You know what? It was a dream at a young age for sure, but it was never thought to be a reality. I think I was in 2008. I got the call to join the pool, and I think we had ISFs in 2009. So there was a lot of we'll say older players around that time. So I was happy to get in the pool. I kind of knew that it wasn't my time yet, and I believe it was still every 4 years then. So our next one was 2013. So in the middle of that, I think it was 2011, we went to Florida for the AAUs and a camp. So that was the first time I actually got to put on the maple leaf, and that was an amazing experience in itself. A funny story about going to Florida. Like at that time, I think I was 21, 22. A bit older than that. I was probably 23, and we went down there, and I was like, the fitness testing and the beep test and the push-ups and the sit-ups. And I'm going to be honest, I probably didn't do any before we went down, But I remember saying to Ryan Boland going down, I was like, man, I'm nervous about the fitness test, right? Like, if this is I'm not going to make the team because I can't do 50 push-ups in a minute, right? Yeah. He said, we'll pair up when we get down there. And he said, like, I'll take care of you, right? So we get it. We get into it.
Good old bowling, boy. You got your back.
And the sit-ups, it's like, go on the sit-ups. And you hear 1, 4, 7, 15, 7, right? Just going off the ladder, right? I was fucking so grateful for Bowley at the time, right? Thanks, buddy, folks, for helping out your out-of-shape friend, right?
That's all you need to know about Ryan Boland right there. Aside from he's the best catcher in the game right now and a beauty all around. But that is wicked. And that was, I guess, both of your guys' first time.
So we got to share that experience, and like he helped me out so much with that. And, I think we ended up losing to you guys in the final there with Chicago, New York. But the experience itself, just getting to wear the maple leaf, getting around all the like Wolfie and those guys, seeing what they're like on the national team, it was amazing.
I remember I pitched that game, believe it or not. I started it. I think Mark Johnson lit off the game with a home run, I think. But I remember, funny story for that championship game. Jordan Graham was his first camp as well. You remember Jordan?
Yes,
and he come in to relieve me when I got my tits lit up, and he was going in, and I remember like Lolly was leading off this inning, right? And he was like, was this guy a good hitter? And all this stuff. I was like, fuck, nah, not really like it. Like, do your thing, like. And then Lolly proceeds to hit one fucking about 496 feet. It was like 7-0 at this point, so I could laugh about it then. But I just thought it was pretty funny, right?
Yeah. I missed that tournament too, man. you know, the getting to go down there, it really breaks up the off season. You get to see the boys, and we got to go down there a couple of years ago, right before everything shut down, and I'm really glad that we did. That was a lot of fun, but hopefully they keep continuing on with that tournament. But back to kind of your journey within the national team. So then it's bango. You're 2013 going down to New Zealand, and this, from our perspective, this is Bradley Ezekiel, knowing who he is as a ball player, establishing himself now on the international stage, and is really your first ISF. And you're bango entering into your prime.
Yeah, well, 2013 kind of was coming into I was coming into my prime there, and going into that tournament, I didn't know my role on the national team at that time. I was kind of told I'm going to get every opportunity. So going in, I ended up playing first base and batting cleanup, which something I never did before. You know, like I don't even think I brought a first baseman's glove with me, right?
I wasn't happy about that.
No.
Like, Lord Jesus, but on this, you're the reason I left the fucking outfield, right? Because I was playing center field, playing Team Canada outfielder, right? You work your way to national. I made national team as an outfielder. Team Newfoundland, you know, I thought, okay, maybe left field, maybe not center field. You know, you got Wolfie, but okay, at least you made the national team as an outfielder, and here comes freaking Bradley Ezekiel by. And I quickly realized that I probably have a longer career playing first base than I would trying to compete for a spot in the outfield. And then sure enough, we go down there, and now you want to take fucking first base from me too? No, sir.
Just let our fans know, just make no mistake about it. That is definitely the reason why he left the outfield. There's no other reason.
That's funny. Well, my career at first base didn't last too long after that, we'll say that, because I was quickly back in the outfield. But no, back to the experience, like being the first time, you kind of don't know what to expect. You're just going down, trying to just play well, contribute on both sides of the field. And going in, like, start batting cleanup and playing first base, you're like, well, what's on the go, right? But then as the tournament went on, you get more comfortable, and you just go back to playing, doing the things that got you there. And the experience itself was great, which I think we kind of could have done better. We could have had a better result. That experience for the young guys, how we had such a big turnover with the national team before that, that experience was huge for a lot of us.
And looking back, because that was my first ISF as well in New Zealand, and I know Lolly played in 2009, but there was a factor, like an unknown factor, an intimidation factor. Like we were young, obviously, and there was lots of vets around on all the teams. And but going into New Zealand, Canada and New Zealand have such a rich history and a fairly intense rivalry. And I just remember seeing videos back from, I believe it was 2004 in Christchurch, I think it was. And you see the hostile crowds and like really what you're walking into. And there was that factor that played a role. And, we didn't reach our goal down there. It wasn't the outcome we wanted. And, but I think now next time going back, and I'm looking forward to 2022, we've been there, we know what to expect. And I think that's, certainly going to help along the way.
Yeah, I remember going over, and we did a lot of we toured around New Zealand a little bit, playing exhibition games against their different communities. And no matter where you went, the team we played had so many fans out supporting their community, and just goes to show how passionate that whole country is about softball.
Yeah, it's unreal. When we, like Hilly said, we look back into 2004 and the rivalries, then we got to see, kind of as fans of the game, young guys coming up, and then get to get your feet wet with some international friendly events, and then right into the ISF, and had kind of a journey with the relationship with the Kiwis. When you come in, you're young, it's like they're a bunch of assholes, us against the world. You just hate them. Right, or you're training your mind that you don't like them, and then you start to learn a little bit more about how they approach the game, the respect that they have. When we first got to see the haka, I know me personally, I probably had an ignorant approach to it, didn't really understand what it represented, and you kind of sit back and probably not intentionally, but maybe disrespected the tribute. And then you start to get to play with some of these guys on your club teams, and you realize that a lot of our childhood were the same, and they're how they grew up playing the game, and it just the respect starts to grow, but the rivalry is still there. But when you first got to see the New Zealand Black Sox, and you got to see the haka for the first time, and then seeing it as many times you have over the last decade, when you think about New Zealand and the New Zealand-Canada rivalry, what's your take on it?
Yeah, well, the first time I seen the haka was in 2013, I believe, and I remember just not having any emotion towards it. Kind of just like, all right, let them do their thing. Let's get back to what we need to do. Come to find out what it is, what it actually means to them, and all that. You got to respect it. But the rivalry itself, it's something that as soon as you got into the pool and you started talking, it was, we got to beat New Zealand. We're planning to beat New Zealand. Like, how do we beat New Zealand? Everything, that was our biggest rivalry. That's who we knew going in. We had to have a lot of focus on, going into that tournament there. I remember we played them in the round robin, and going in, I think that was what we talked about for leading up. Oh, can't we play New Zealand on Wednesday it was probably our second or third game. Not looking past our first two, but, we were getting jacked up for them, before we even got there. So the rivalry is cool. It's cool to be a part of, and, you got to respect them for how they treat the game.
Yeah, it's now that my international career is done, I have the utmost respect for the New Zealand players, their fans, their traditions, and really thankful. We got to grow up and play in an era where there was a rivalry, in an era where our friends and family who couldn't travel that far got to see it on the internet or over broadcast. How friggin' lucky we are. And it's just really having that appreciation. And some of the best guys over there that you could ever meet. But then it's still, there's that switch that goes off in the head, Hilly, when we get to, now it's an opportunity. Right? It's an appreciation. We get to play New Zealand, and they're going to bring their A game, and there's only so many opportunities you're going to get. Let's go out and make the most of them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got to play against them a lot over the years, and went on their tours and this and that with Hilly United, and it's always a cool experience. And right from the get go, the haka, you get amped up, and their fan base down there are knowledgeable, and it's like going to a hockey arena and you're playing against the home team. Like there's that sense of they don't want you to do well. And if you happen to do well, you squeak out a win. It just makes it, that much sweeter. Dust Up with Hilly and Lolly is supported by Miller Lite. Great Pilsner taste with only 90 calories and 3 grams of carbs per serving. After a tough game, it's always Miller time. Please drink responsibly. So Zeke, one of our biggest years on record, obviously, 2015. We're hosting Pan Ams, we're hosting ISFs. What did that look like from your perspective, your preparation, your excitement? How did it all go down for you?
Yeah, I was quite excited. It was a huge year, so we got started really early. We went to the camp early on, and got started from there. Played a few exhibition games there. Really got some swings in. Because we knew it was going to be a long, grueling process. So for us, starting in May, we can't get on the ball field here. So you gotta get in the gym. You gotta do what you gotta do to be ready, right? So once we got to the camp, we got that under our belt, and then we just moved on.
But before we moved on, Brad, at that camp in May, remember the piss testing? So the way we go up there, we're getting prepared and we're doing all this. I'm not sure if that was May or February, the one I'm talking about, but anyway, when all the fitness testing and everything was done, okay, we're done. Let's go out. We'll go to wherever it was. I think it was Idlewice. We'll have a few wings, watch a hockey game, and then a couple of beers, and we go back. And I'm rooming with Hilly, right? And Hilly got we're in this hotel room, the one that got like the closing French doors, and then there's the master bedroom in there. Guess who gets the fucking master bedroom? Captain freaking Canada over there. So he gets in there. I got to sleep on the pull-out couch out in the main room. And anyway, we had a bit of fun, and it was like, I don't know, 5:45 in the morning. I hears a knock on the door, and I go up, and I got one eye open, looking through the keyhole, and here's a buddy stood up with khaki pants on, and tucked in golf shirt, and one of these lanyards over him, over his neck. And I opened up, and I said, "Buddy, you got the wrong? Like, can I help you?" He said, "Mr. Mullally, Mr. Hill." I said, "Yeah." He said, "We're with the World Anti-Doping Agency, and you've been selected for urine test." So what? I said, "No, bye." Anyway, and I'm there in my boxers, and I go in. I said, "Okay, well, come on." I said, "Well, Jason Hill is in that room, and I can guarantee you're waking him up because I'm not doing it." So I go in. I said, "Go in," and here's Buddy. Right? He's only about 5 feet tall, and he's on the edge of the bed, just pushing down on the corner. "Mr. Hill, Mr. Hill." And Hilly wakes up. He said, "What the fuck?" I said, "Hilly, we're getting piss tested." He said, "No, we're not." Right? You know, you're waking up out of a stupor. And then anyway, he said, "Yes, sir, we got to go." And then Hilly jumps up. He got the boxers on too. He said, "Will you give me a minute? I got to take a piss." Hilly's going in the bathroom, get ready to take a piss. I said, hold it. We got to go down and give the sample. And sure enough, we go down. And Hilly, do you remember when we went down in the elevator and got off?
I do, yeah. It was like a bad dream. Like, of course, it was the tradition, the boys' night out where the camp is done, the fitness testing is done, our flights are the next day. We get out for a few beers. We probably have a few too many because Stanley Cup playoffs was on at the time. And anyway, so this guy comes in. He's like, "Yeah, we got to go." It's like 6 a.m. or like 5:30 a.m. I was like, this is nuts, right? And so I go down, and I'll never forget it. I walk into this room, and because I still at this point didn't think it was real. I was like, someone's setting us up here now for some kind of joke, right? So I remember walking to the room, and then there was like 6 of the boys sitting in chairs drinking water with the same look of disgust on their face that I had. And over in the corner was big Paul Cowart standing up doing jumping jacks. And I was like, "Cordy, what are you doing?" He said, "They said it helps to make me pee."
Yeah.
Well, I howled. I said, "Boys, I'm next." I said, "Either I'm peeing in that cup. I'm peeing in that cup, or I'm peeing right here."
Yeah. No, I remember that too. It's intimidating, like, and they always picked why 6 o'clock in the morning? Why not 6 o'clock in the evening? Much better, right? But no, I remember that too. I was brewing with Dev McCullough at the Evo, and I remember getting a knock on the door. Going to the door, I was like, "What the fuck is on the go?" It was fucking 6 o'clock in the morning. Opened the door, and there's Buddy with the clipboard. "Yeah, you've been selected for drug testing." I was like, "Holy fuck!" He was like, "Is your roommate Devin McCullough?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, tell him he's been selected as well." I go in. I said, "Devo, we got selected for piss testing. Buddy's at the door." He said, "Tell him to get the fuck out of here." I said, "Devo, I think you just did, buddy. He's right there."
Yeah.
So with that, about a half hour later, we stroll down, and like you said, Hilly, you walk in and everyone's there, and you're just like, okay, like it's not too bad. Right?
Well, we hadn't been through that before, and there was no warning. I think every camp now we have the different. We could expect a knock on the door at any point in time, but for me, that from that point on, after the pee testing, that was like, okay, this is game on now. This is serious business. Like there's no more shagging around. It's business mode now from here till we get to the field.
Yeah, it really makes it. You're going to a World Championships, and this is a part of representing Team Canada going into World Championships. World Anti-Doping is going to show up unannounced, and that's all a part of it. And it's kind of old hat now. We've all been through it a number of different times, but that was pretty funny. But that whole year and going into that summer, the three of us had a really unique opportunity because we played on 3 different teams together, and had a chance to win 5 major championships in one summer with the WBSC with Team Canada, the Pan Am Games with Team Canada, the ASA Men's Major National Championship with Hill United, ISC World Tournament with Hill United. And then the last tournament, major tournament, was with Team Newfoundland playing in Canadian Senior Men's. So we had a chance to win the 5 rings that you can win in the game all in one summer. And it still baffles my mind to think back that we did it, right? And it's something that we were on this panel with Ryan Boland for his Canada Games team, and there was 3 of us and Clary and Shane, and he asked the question there, guys, what's your proudest achievement in the game? And, looking back now, I don't think I said it at that point in time, but to be able to say that you had that opportunity and went out and actually, I don't know, had your dreams come true, that to come out and come away with those, that whole experience is something I can't believe we had the opportunity to do it. And then to come away with those 5 championships, all except ASAs, all of them were in pretty dramatic fashion, starting with the WBSC up in Saskatoon, right? And we could be here for 10 hours if we went through all the details of this, but Brad, that tournament is talked about, from the championship game and just how great of an event it was. But the Brad Ezekiel on Sunday, Championship Sunday, I don't know what you ate for breakfast, buddy, but you put us on your back that day, coming right out of the gate. I think you had 5 or 7 RBIs against Venezuela, and then really set the stage for us in the championship game with that home run coming back from an 0-2 count. That must have been pretty special to see that one go over the fence.
Yeah, for sure. Like say, getting that day started, going in, we knew we had 2 games, and we needed to get on them early. We started with Venezuela, so it was a score early, score often type of thing. So I managed to hit a home run in the first inning there to really set the table, and we never looked back from there. You hit a home run in that game. I think we ended up winning 10-0 4 innings. So Sean only had to pitch 4 innings, so he was fresh for the final. And then going into the final, facing New Zealand, our biggest rival, the game we wanted. We lost to them the night before to get to the final. So, this is it. Everything's on the table. And I remember my first at bat, I hit into a double play. So it didn't start too well for me, but or our team. We went down 5-0 pretty early. And, I will say none of us got down. When it was 5-0, everyone was still I remember you had the saying, Lolly, pulling on the rope in the same direction. Everyone tried to chip in and do their thing. And once Horny started that, got that double in the 4th inning, and then Matty had the base hit and then home run and another home run with 5-4. So after that 4th inning, we're like, all right, boys, this is our fucking game to win. Right. And then it was actually the Lolly show. It wasn't the Bradley show. Right. So, that was quite the performance you put on yourself, Lolly. And that's something that will never fucking be done in this game again.
No, it was really, really special. But, and then, we talk about Hilly that week too, right? Batting damn near 800 after getting food poisoning again.
For the 3rd time in Saskatoon.
Yeah. And, it was really cool to see the buddies you grew up with, not just us two, how tight that team was. Everybody were friends. You're more than teammates at that point. You're friends, but Hilly, you were on a different level that week too, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was going to touch on that Sunday, but I mean, if you look at that lineup from 1 to 15 offensively, we knew we had the pitchers, but offensively, I don't know what our team batting average was. It must have been well over 300, probably close to 400. Like everybody was mashing the ball, and it must have been a pleasure for the coaching staff. You could interchange players here or there, and it's not going to make a significant difference to your lineup. I mean, everybody was producing, and really at that level is what you need. You got to get right. The Stars got a line to win that tournament. It's very tough to win. It's getting tougher to win every time now because all the other countries are getting good. But just to touch on that Sunday, I mean, that was literally best case scenario for us with that game against Venezuela. 10-0, 5 innings, get Clary off the mound, get back to the hotel, have a little rest up. It was hot out. It was smoky. You remember the forest fires, all the smoke coming in?
Yes.
I don't know if breathing that for 10 days was good for us or not, but anyway,
Yeah.
that was best case scenario for us. And then, I'm sure New Zealand would have rather us see us play 2-1 in 8 innings or something like that, against Venezuela. But like, they must have kind of been like, okay, the boys are hot. We got to get out to a pretty early start here. We got to get out to a hot start. And they did 5-0, but you said it, there was no panic. We just come off. We just scored 10 runs after third best team in the country. So, why can't we do this right now against New Zealand in front of fucking 8,000 of our friends and family? It was literally one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. And I'll never forget it, man. It's just fucking awesome.
Yeah. We were lucky with the coaching staff that we had too, right? And you think back on tournaments like that and championships won, they don't happen by accident. It takes everybody. And there's some things that maybe a lot of people don't know that happened that really contributed to us being as close-knit of a team. And I can remember halfway through that tournament, I don't know, I think the coaching staff might have got a feeling that we were a little bit tight, or we weren't where they thought we needed to be, either mentally or performance-wise. And I remember they called us down to the lobby that one morning, and we thought we were all going to practice. We're all in our gear, and they said, "Bring your ball bags back upstairs, fellas." And I'm like, "Oh, Jesus, man. Like, are we doing fitness testing, or what are they doing now?" And then they took us bowling, right? They just showed up bowling, and we went out there, and we just blew off some steam. They had a bunch of games and challenges and mixed up the teams, and we just got to blow off some steam, kind of forget about the pressure and all the distractions. And I can still remember the laughter and the energy that was brought up in that bowling event. And it carried over onto the field. I think there was a little bit of pressure, a little bit of weight lifted off the chest. And I think that was a really smart move on their part. Very insightful and perceptive call by the coaching staff. You got
to do those things. Like, I mean, the national team is traditionally a mix of veterans, guys in their prime, and young and up and comers, right? And there's nerves, there's different personalities. You never know what somebody's thinking. There's lots of distractions. We're playing at home. There's probably more distractions at home than what there is on the road. Really, everybody, like Les Howie always says, every your friends and family, everybody wants a piece of your time. There's lots of distractions, lots of nerves. Stadium was loud and packed every night. Yeah, it was right. So just to have that little reset, and you got guys like LZ and Wolfie and like Lolly, and getting on with the young guys and saying, "Boys, let's just sit back, relax, do our thing. We're going to be all right. Let's go have a little bit of fun for a couple hours. We'll go grab some pizza or something after, have a beer." Like, it was awesome. I think that's, like you said, I think that's one of the best things that could have happened that week. Yeah, and then so we win that championship, top of the world, and then got a reset to go into the Pan Am Games. And like I said, we could be here all night talking about all these, but we need to dive into, Bradley, that's one of the biggest moments in Canadian softball history for sure. But we had a lot of pressure on us going into that tournament, but going into that championship game in particular, because at the ISFs, it was 23 years since Canada won. So we had a bit of pressure of trying to get us back on top. But then you flip to the other side of the coin at the Pan Am Games, and men's national team has never lost a Pan Am game gold medal. And we're going in trying to preserve that streak to play Venezuela in the championship game. And you were hitting the ball on the screws the whole weekend, but you couldn't buy a break. I think the field was 10 feet. It was back. Yeah. I think it was 265 or 270 and not 250. And you must have hit 5 or 6 balls that would have been out in a normal field. But you went into that championship game and just put together a timely hit that'll go down in Canadian men's fast pitch history. You hit the home run that won the Pan Am Games for our country. What was that moment, that game, and that at bat like for you?
It was something special. I mean, to get up with an opportunity like that for your country on home soil in front of so many fans, like a lot of family there too. My wife was there and all that. So, it probably it will go down probably as one of my biggest hits in my career. But, to do it for the boys, in such a tight game, like Urbanea was, a lot of change ups, a lot of off speed. He was kind of lulling us a bit, it was kind of, and Sham was doing his part, like mowing everybody down as he usually does. So he kept us in it there. So it was to go through that at bat. I remember like not necessarily struggling, but not many hits to my name. And I remember Stewie coming down, John Stewart, coach, at third base, because I think they made a defensive change right before my bat. I think they walked Matty. Then they made a defensive change to left field. So it gave us a bit of time. He came down and he had a chat. And he was like, they're throwing everything away. He said, fucking hit one the other way, for fuck's sake. Like, thanks for the advice, coach. I'll try to do that.
That was a good impression, actually.
Yeah. But no, I just remember, I'm going to try to just make good contact here. And he threw me, I remember it was inside dipper, and I fucking turned on it. And I fucking crushed it is what I did.
You know what? You know what?
You did. And that it was a no doubter, man. And the place went up. It was
just
unreal.
One of those times when you hit it, you didn't feel it, like it was an unreal feeling. I remember going around third and like kind of winking at Johnny Stewart, right? Fucking, hit one the other way type thing, right? But when getting to the plate after something like that, coming down the third baseline, you see everybody's faces and how happy everybody was. It was unreal.
Yeah. You know what Johnny Stewart said to me before my last event in that game? He said, Skelly, you're in.
And that's why he's one of the best coaches, Hilly.
That or Renee.
In his defense there, though, Hilly, Skelly he's had a couple of big hits off Urbanea.
Skelly has a great track record against Urbanea. I tell you, I'm thinking back to when I'm trying to think when we first faced him with National. I'm thinking back to Columbia, whenever that was, maybe 2012, maybe
12. Yeah.
And I mean, he's been pitching us tough for years.
He's a tough sledding with him, man.
He's tough. Yeah. He's tough on lefties, and he got the up down change, curve change. He's one of those slower, junky guys, but he makes it move, and he's smart. And you have a good catcher there, and and he certainly pitched. I mean, him and Clary were going at it that game. It was tight. That is really what you would expect of a championship game of that caliber, right? It was pretty intense, man.
Yeah, and that's it's a call. It's a tough call for Stewie at that point, but you got to give him, we all got tight relationships with them. You go through so many years playing, but you got to remember they're there for a reason. They got to make those calls, and to take out the hitter that was just batting 750 at the ISFs to go with a guy that is a really good matchup in this and Skelly did prove it. He came through one of the biggest hits that our country's seen in a long time down in Columbia with that home run that he hit down there. And but that just goes to show how great of a coaching staff we had, how deep of a team we had, that when he made that call, and everybody just rallies behind Skelly because let's go. It's another one of the boys in the lineup. And I can remember when we won that. And we're out in friggin' Ajax, which is a 45-minute bus ride away. And then because the night before, Hilly, and you talk about this all the time, when we got to see, I think it was the rugby team or something, they came back into the athletes' village with their gold medals around their neck. And we knew that we were going to get to experience that. When we were coming from Ajax down to Toronto, you talk about that as one of the best memories of your life.
Man. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And they were walking through the center of the village. They were fucking taped up. They were bandaged. They were limping. There was blood coming from their ears and nose everywhere. And it looked like they'd just been to fucking war. And they had a gold medal around their neck. And everybody, all the Canadian athletes just stood where they were and clapped and give them a hand. I'm getting shivers right now just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Them walking through and them raising their arms and stuff. And I was like, we're fucking doing that tomorrow. Yeah. We're doing that. I said, Bradley, we're doing that tomorrow.
Yeah, Bradley. Yeah, but it was cool. And then we played with Elsie for a lot of years, and one of Elsie's sayings was, "Guys, these are big tournaments, and these are made of there's memories. Someone's going to step up and be a hero. Who's it going to be?" And Bradley, that's exactly as he describes it. Right? You get that moment. You're going to be telling your son that. There's people going to be telling that story for years and years and years. And just when you thought the pressure was off, they say, "Hey, Bradley, you got to go on the national, CBC the national, and do an interview. And I'd say, knowing you would have rather had that at bat in front of a million people than do that. But that was one of the highlights for me, was we all gathered around watching you do the CBC interview. How was
it was
that?
pretty cool. I remember after the game, Mike Brancho came over and he was like, CBC wants to do an interview with you. I said, okay, yeah, where did he do? He said, no, on TV. He said, live later tonight. I said, what? I said, I don't think that's for me, right? And he was like, well, I can get somebody else if you don't want to. I was like, frig it, I'll do it, right? So I had a bit of time in between. I had about 4 hours, so got a bit of bravery into me, right?
Yeah.
Had a few pops. But managed to get there, and I remember doing a podcast before, like to kind of get you comfortable, right? And that kind of eased it a little bit. And I remember after that going in and like getting your makeup done for like getting ready for TV. And I had my hat on backwards, and the ladies are doing my makeup, and she's like, "So you're gonna wear your hat backwards on TV?" And I was like, "I don't know, am I allowed?" She's like, "Oh yeah, we just want you to be comfortable." I said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna wear it backwards then." She said, "Okay, well." They're ready for you. So I walked out, and no, it was a pretty cool interview. It was something cool to see. And
Scott Russell, was it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Russell.
that's wicked. We see him all the time. See, Bradley, it just goes back to like your coach back then said, as long as you're comfortable in the box, doesn't matter where you put your hands. You're just going to hit the ball. He goes into CBC. He says, just want you comfortable. Wears a hat backwards, goes out and kills the interview. Man, it was awesome. So that was unreal, and just to see you come through like that, and know how hard you worked and everything you put into it, and that our whole team was relying on you in that tournament. To see you step up the way you did, it was friggin' awesome is what it was. But then we went on. We won the ASAs in 5 innings. Great. Fast forward through that one, and then we're looking to go into the ISC. We won the Canadians at the end of the summer. We don't need to talk about that. But Hilly, I do want to talk with Bradley on here about that championship game in the ISC when you came up with bases with runners on first and third, or second and third against Cleary. That must have been an unreal situation for you now, looking back on your career. It was, just after winning the ISF, winning the Pan Am Games, winning the ASA, and now you're up with a chance. We're down, and basically it's all riding on you at this point. What was that at bat and that moment like for you?
Yeah, I guess like much like I guess Bradley's tournament in the ICs, I wasn't really, I had a few hits here and there, maybe a home run or two, but I wasn't really squaring the ball up all week. And I was kind of struggling, I was in a kind of a slump, I guess. And at this point, Kyle Linton started the game for the Gators, and he came out and Sean Cleary come in. So obviously we're all familiar with Cleary being from Newfoundland. We play in the same league. We also know he's one of the best pitchers in the planet. So we're down 4-2 at this point. You're on second. LZ's on third. So you know what? Like what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to hit the ball hard. I don't know, left field, right field. I'll go with the pitch, wherever it is. I'm just trying to hit the ball hard, not strike out, make them make a play. So we get into a pretty good battle. It's 2-2 at this point. They call time. Remember they called time like 2 or 3 times. Yeah. Campaign goes out to talk to Cleary, and they probably think you're tipping me off at second base or something, which you would never do.
No, never.
No.
And anyway, he threw me a changeup, and I was a little bit out in front of it, but I squared it up. I knew I got the meat of the bat on the meat of the ball, and it was a fucking piss missile to right field, and it wasn't very high. And I knew at the very least, it's a tie ball game here. I'm standing on second. And sure enough, I see it sail like there was a low set of bleachers behind the fence. It just barely went over the fence, really. It just kind of went into the low set of bleachers. And then I just put the hand up, and I kind of had a little blackout run around the bases. But it was pretty cool from the week I had to come up in a big moment for the boys.
Yeah, and to see it, like, who else would you want up against Cleary in that moment? Like, I'd say you probably had the most at bats against Sean in the history of the fucking fast pitch. So the stars kind of aligned for us in that situation. He didn't throw you a bad pitch either, right? Threw you a changeup, I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a changeup. Yeah, it was last pitch changeup. And I've had some success off Sean before, but he's had a lot of success off me too. Yeah. It's just one of those. It becomes a chess match at that point, right?
What's that like, boys? Having success off Sean?
It doesn't happen very often.
No, that's wicked.
Good thing about Sean is he won't stick you on purpose, right? If he has a couple of good games against him, hey?
Yeah. Well, that's what real pitchers do, not the petty ones like Hilly there, Bradley. But it's pretty cool. We talked about it a couple of times too. But I watch that game or the highlights from that game on YouTube every now and then, and seeing you put the hand up, Hilly, run around the bases, but. It really brings a smile to my face to see you high-fiving the old man Johnny Hill going around third base. It's pretty cool. We talk about what that year meant for us and the opportunity we had. When you think about coaches, he got to go out and do the same thing. He coached Hilly from when you were 5 years old, and then to see him and his journey up to playing, coaching on the national team, coaching with Hilly United, and he won 4 rings that summer himself. That's a story that needs to be told, and we'll get him on to tell that probably when I'm home.
Yeah, I think Johnny really liked that, man. He got some stories to tell, and this has been a wild ride for him as well. It's been a dream of his to coach at that level, ISCs. And to get to play for my old man the last few years, it's been pretty cool too. It's something you look back 20, 30 years down the road, and you're having a beer with Pops on the back deck. You say, remember we did that, remember that time. And, it's pretty cool, man. But I'm sure we should get him on here sometime and reminisce a little bit, I guess. And maybe on your trip home, we'll get down to the old Bruins Boulevard.
Yeah, I think we'll make an early announcement. It might not early, depending on when this one airs. But yeah, can't wait for that. Brad, we were looking forward to having you on, right? And there's so much we can talk to you about. We're just so many stories. There's no way we can get to them all. Maybe when I'm home too, we'll get you over to the Bruins Boulevard and we'll start round 2 or get on telling some stories there. But we brought it up when we had Rob Gray's episode, and I'm just curious, how many flights do you think you missed because of me?
That'll take me a while to count all those up, but I remember one summer in particular. I think it was our Chicago, New York year. I think we played 8 tournaments. I definitely missed 6 flights on it. Right? But it was the same old thing, right? We got time. Border will be nodding. Sunday, you fly right through that. We get through in 2 or 3 hours. We'll get there, no sweat. Yeah, okay, Lolly. We got to leave now. Another beer while we go on. Okay, yeah. Finally gets on the road, gets to the border. 2.5 hours at the border. Right? Like, another flight missed this week. No big deal. Ashley's going to be off the head. Right? But, yeah, that's just a part of it too, right?
And you know what? And it's still a problem today, because if we ever Lolly living up in Burlington now, he have a nice beautiful pool, tiki bar in his backyard. It's always sunny out there. If we ever finish, if we ever get knocked out early, or if we finish early on a Sunday, our flights, we usually book a late flight anyway, just in case, right? Because we'll stick around. We don't want to have that problem rushing to the airport. We'll get the last flight. We'll get there plenty of time. But the problem is now, if we're finished early, Lolly says, "Boys, come back right on the way to the airport." He says, 20 minutes, half hour away, right along the way. Right. So we go, and it isn't that far away. The problem is we get there, we throw the trunks on, we're in the pool, we're having a few beers, we're shooting shit. We could have just won a tournament, and it's like, fuck, do we even want to go to the airport right now?
Well, this is all premeditated too. I'm like, back in the Chicago, New York, that was just like, it was just funny because Bradley, I did feel bad, but it's just, you're hilarious when you're panicking about flights. You start taking your hat off. You're like, boys, come on, I got to get home. I got to work. And I felt bad, but now looking back, it's friggin' hilarious seeing you go through all that. But then when we're fast forwarding now, like, I just want to have my buddies back to my place. So I got this premeditated negotiation going on. I say, all right, tournament's over. Okay, boys, quick one in the beer tent. Let's go. We'll go to my place. Like Hilly said, 20 minutes away, quick dip. The fridge is full. Let's go down. Come on. Come over to the house. How many chances do we get to do this? That's my line, right? We're not going to have many more chances to do this. And then, and then we get some there. I got him trapped.
So he sucks you in, right?
You're trapped at, you're at the house now. And then it's, you guys got to pull straws. All right, who's going to not have to have a drink here now? And Bradley's is a lot of the times it's you or Johnny, because Jason never drives. And then
Jason hasn't driven on the road, I'd say, ever.
Not the road, no.
No, he don't do it. Just like he gets the king size bed in the friggin' suite over there. Like he gets what he wants. Like, fucking drive you nuts. Anyway, and then he gets there. But when I get back, that's when the real work goes in. Like, boy, let's have another beer there now. Yeah. And listen, you could change the flight. You did lots of room here, boys. Lots of room. You can get up, you can get out on that 6:15 flight. You'll be at the work at the same time, and then the negotiation goes in. And I've won a couple of those battles. You stayed over a couple of times, but for the most part, it's get in, get out, cool off in the pool, and go on. But it's we're really friggin' fortunate to get to do what we do. Living this far away from you guys. And especially now after going through the last couple of years, where you kind of take for granted getting to jump on a plane or getting to jump in a car and see your best buddies and play a tournament. So I can't friggin' wait to see you guys and team up with you again, Brad. We knew it was going to be a treat getting you come on. Best ball player on the planet, best teammate, all around great guy. Thanks so much for doing this, buddy.
I appreciate the kind words, Lolly. Thanks you guys for having me. I love what you're doing here. A lot of good laughs on this. You had a lot of great guests so far. So keep it up.
Jake, we're back in the swing of things down at Lions Park. We're first week of the season in the book events coming up with Team Canada. So looking forward to heading on that journey with you. And like Lolly said, man, appreciate you coming on here.
Absolutely. Thanks, Hilly.
Awesome, fellas. Bradley, and make sure you're wearing a couple of padded undershirts next time you finish getting down that lead. Awesome, boys. We got Lucas and Nick here. Boys, give us a little bit of rum ragged to take us out.
Get out of here! I told you, Mr. Drama.
I used to be a ladies' man, but I'm unhappy now. For courting 6 girls all at once they
Say
used me.
bye-bye baseball!
My mother said it was naughty, I should take some years back. But I said if it's naughty, sure it's also very nice.
And the Lolly drops his glove, grabs Dalton. The benches are clearing.